Hey everyone, what's up? It is time for my review, I should say, of Sonic 259, which happens to be the last issue of my current subscription. And it is dubbed The Chase, the second part of the self-titled Chase storyline or story arc. And I will say this about it. I will say this. Not to give much away, but we do get a lot more exposition as to what's going on with the planet. Apparently, it seems that every thousands of years, according to the storyline, the planet goes through something like this. It goes through a death and a rebirth. Basically, it goes through a death and, from a religious standpoint, a resurrection. I know it sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what it's doing. It's going through a death and a rebirth, or a death and a resurrection, or whatever you want to call it. No matter how you look at it, it's just going that way. But that is the reason why the planet is coming apart. Now I know some of you might find that to be a little excusable, just for someone like someone like Ian Flynn, to basically try to, ride around the circles and say this is why the planet's falling apart, really, and it's not really Eggman's fault. But Ian doesn't, thrive, walk away from that entirely either. They do talk about the strange. They do give more exposition on what the strange fumes are coming out of the earth. And that basically, as anybody has predicted, and as pretty much has looked at, tie in to Dark Gaia. And that they have some kind of mutagenic properties. So yeah, mutagenic properties and total rewrite of cell structure. So basically, yeah, we're going in the Unleashed direction, but we're going in almost an entirely different direction of how Sonic becomes the Werehog. And yes, we do get another instance where Sonic starts to go a little feral. And he does have a flashback a little bit in his mind about that occurring over the past few issues. Now, the interesting tidbits about this is they're exploring every car, trying to find the professors. Sonic's getting a little annoyed, going like, hey, I could use some help from my teammates. So you can kind of see a little bit of that feralness out in the anger. He's getting a little bit more angrier at times as well. And you see that a little bit more in this issue. But basically they're exploring all the trains, and they come upon a train that houses only a fuse ball table, which Sally's like, wait a minute. Out of all the train carts full of weapons, foods, whatever he needs, supplies, he dedicates one car to a fuse ball table? What are you going to do?
But anyway, Amy overhears what's going on in the next car, pretty much deduces that's where Sonic is along with the professors. They go and finally join Sonic there, help Sonic get the professors out of the car, where Sonic and Amy are taking care of the E100 bot, which Amy proclaims is a lot more annoying than E10 or E0, whatever he was. We do see the fights. We do see Tails and Antoine and Bunny fighting off the badniks in the sky with the tornado, the tornado, and I can't think of the other plane right now. And we see Bunny flying around, and we do kind of get a little bit of a clue, in my opinion, that maybe Bunny can't really exert herself. Really can't go. Well, not exert, but basically really can't go over a limit. I mean, we have Sally telling her, don't overexert yourself. So that's a little bit of a clue, in my opinion, for a future issue coming up. Well, not future issue, but future storyline or plot or whatever they got planned coming up in the near future. It's really interesting. So, anyway, they finally all get out of the car. Sally and Rhoda have the professors. Yeah, oh yeah, and while the train's spinning around, the train's kind of whipping around the tracks, if you know what I mean. Uncle Chuck does get knocked out. That does kind of help Sonic get a little feral before the others show up in time to help him calm down, to help him out, and thus allow him to calm down a little bit. So anyway, they like I said. So anyway, like I said, they finally all get out of the car, and Sonic, he has Amy with him, and he's running across the top of the train, and he sees what he's looking for, and he's like, "Oh, that'll do nicely." And Amy's like, "What? What are you talking about? We'll do nicely." And then she sees what he's saying, and she's like, "Oh no, 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 no!" And basically, Sonic jumps off the train, and on top of the Tails' biplane wing. So, yeah, it was a nice little piece there with Sonic, Amy. You know, kind of like going back and forth. You know, kind of deal there. Then we get back to the Sky Patrol after everybody's safe and sound. And of course, Sonic's not happy because he finds out from Professor Prickle that even though they saved them, they didn't save what the material, all the research and stuff that they were using. And Sonic's basically upset that the professor could have at least mentioned that to him when he was trying to save the butts. And then kind of like moodily kind of goes like, ugh, and this guy's supposed to be a genius. So anyway, we get the explanation, like I mentioned earlier, about the whole situation, why the planet's falling apart, why it's breaking apart, that it goes through this every thousands of years. We get the explanation about the Dark Gaia mist that Sonic inhaled, you know, so forth, so on and so forth. So, so during this expedition, the professor still wants to know why Eggman wants his research, why Eggman would want anything to do with would want any of his research at all. And Charles is basically, and Uncle Chuck basically has to tell him, there's only one reason, man. He wants to use it so he could hold the world hostage. So he could repair the world, but hold it hostage by. But basically, what Chuck is saying basically what Uncle Chuck is saying here is, the only reason Eggman wanted Professor Prickle's research was so that he could put the world together, but put it together by holding it hostage. By, in other words, saying, hey, you want me to repair this world? You would declare me the Empire, ruler of the world. That's basically what Chuck is saying. The Eggman basically wants to research so he can learn how to repair the world, but only if the world declares him ruler. So, there's the reason why Eggman wants to repair the world. And of course, we do see that Charles is a little bit concerned about Sonic. Sonic basically has to explain, hey, I did inhale some of the stuff, but I coughed it out. I'm fine. Sally, of course, gets a little suspicious as well, wondering, okay, what are you hiding? You know, this is not like you never really hide that much from me. What's going on? You know, it's like she feels she's being left out on a loop. Well, eventually she will find out, I'm pretty sure. But overall, Sonic basically has to kind of cover his tracks a little bit and say, hey, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm cool. But then again, like I said, he gets that flashback in his mind of all the times he's gone a little feral. And I think you could see that Sonic's just a little worried that he might is a little concerned that he might go full-fledged feral. In other words, werewolf, werehog, or whatever he's going to be when it's all said and done. Before it's all, or should I say, before it's all said and done. Anyway, Sally takes Professor Prickle and then later Uncle Chuck and gets in contact with Gunn to let them know that Eggman is after Prickle and Chuck, and that they're gonna fly them back or get them some transportation back to where they were, back to Saladra or Sandrana, whatever the place is. Now, we closed the issue by basically having Eggman having the train arrive on time, but basically stating that, hey, Sonic and them can have the professors and anything they want, anything else they took, but hey, I have what I want. And he opens up, looks like a map or something like that. And he opens up some kind of ancient piece of paper. It's either a map or a transcription or something. And then we get the after credits page, where basically the egg boss, if you will, that we met earlier in 253, I believe, or 254 or 253, or at the beginning, the Axel Buffalo, if you will, gets a call from Eggman basically being told that, hey, no matter what, you guard that temple where you're at. You guard that place. Because apparently that might be one of the Gaia temples. Now, I will say this. When they gave the little bit of flashback exposition, we did see Chip, believe it or not. We did see Chip in the flashback when the Professor Prickle was talking about the reason the planet was coming apart. So there's an indication of what we're going to see in the upcoming Sonic Universe issue or arc that is currently out, which is the first Knuckles and Chaotix arc together in a long time. So, anyway, I thought this was an okay issue. Thought it was all right. It had its moments of action and all that. There's no doubt about it. And you could definitely see that Sonic is not just getting more closer to Werehog's stage, if you will, but it's becoming angrier at times. It's basically losing more patience, becoming angrier at times. And you could definitely tell it's the influence a little bit of the Dark Gaia Mist. So, to me, it's a unique take on getting him to Werehog's stage, unlike Sonic Unleashed. So, we'll just have to see where Ian goes from here. I can tell you this. Ian, I know is going to have, whether you like Ian or not, I know he's going to have a lot of fun when we get to that stage of Sonic going full-fledged Werehog. I bet Ian's saving it for when they confront Eggman, and basically might have a couple of scenes in that upcoming issue where Eggman basically gets tossed around and then retreats, and maybe we'll get some kind of exposition or some kind of aftermath with him going like, oh great, now how do I basically how do I rule the world kind of deal. But besides that, it's going to be really interesting what happens from here. And again, I thought it was an okay issue. I thought it was good. Like I said, it had its moments, had its action in it. So, yeah, definitely a good conclusion to the chase portion of this humongous story arc, overall story arc, that, again, I still believe is going to end with issue 275. I really do. So, overall, definitely worth picking up if you want to read it. Definitely worth downloading off the Archie Comics app to your iPod, iPad, or whatever. So, that's all I'm going to say. Check it out. And that is my review of Sonic issue 259. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.